What a freaking mess, guys. Stay with me. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the problems I'm having with this tank, and it has a lot to do with this big piece of Mopani wood right here. Stick with me, and I'm going to tell you exactly the trouble that I ran into and the mistakes that I made, because I'm very honest with people about everything that I do, and it might be a lesson for you if you're in the middle of putting a new tank together. Hopefully there's some information here. When we come back, we're going to talk about this little Mopani wood disaster that we got going here. It's probably not as big of a disaster as I'm making out, but I'm going to tell you how to fix it and how long it'll take to get this piece of wood to stay in place. That's the key to the whole video right there, is we're having a little problem with that, and I'm going to teach you how you can fix that and how long it'll take before things work just fine. So we'll see you in just a minute. Hang in there with me. We'll be right back. Hey everyone, George here. Welcome back to the channel. So I want to talk to you a little bit about a problem that I ran into that could easily be something any of you could run into as well, and that is making sure that your driftwood, such as this piece of Mopani that I've got going here, stays in place and is not something that's going to float. Now here's where I made my mistake, and I've been doing this a long time. I'm susceptible to mistakes just like anyone else, and when things happen, I like to share it with people, just simply because it's kind of nice to share information that might be helpful to someone else who is in a similar situation. Now what happened with me here is about 3 weeks ago, I got this piece of Mopani. Mopani is a very dense wood. It's a piece of African wood, basically. That's where Mopani comes from. It has beautiful colors to it. I like using it in my aquariums just simply because of the character that it brings and so forth. Now, when you're looking at this, I want you to understand this is not going to stay the way that I have it right now. But I wanted to tell you why I have rocks piled all over the top of it. For those of you who have been doing aquariums for a while, you probably already know where I'm going with this and what happened. But I had this soaking for about a week, and I tried it in this tank before ever putting it in here. I tried to make sure that it wasn't going to be an issue and was going to sink properly before putting it in the tank and putting my fish under a lot of stress and that kind of thing, because it is kind of a big move to do something like this. Anyways, I put the piece of wood, which is a rather large piece of wood. This is a 75-gallon tank, so it's not a small tank. And I soaked that wood for about a week. And Mopani wood, typically 3 to 4 days, guaranteed within a week, it's going to stay in place, typically in your aquarium. And basically what happened with me in this particular situation was that I did soak it for about a week and got sick as a dog here. My whole family was sick with something, and I don't know if any of you have been dealing with this too, but everybody I talk to nationwide, there seems to be something going around that's kicking people's butts for at least 9 to 12 days, and that happened to me. So I was getting ready to do this, and I took this piece out of the bin of water and was getting ready to put it together in this tank, and unfortunately I got sick. So I didn't put it back. This is where I made my mistake. I did not put it back in the water. Now, Mopani, as I said, is a wood that will typically sink very quickly. It's got some beautiful character too. I don't mean to go outside of it, but there's so many natural places to stick plants. Somebody even carved their initials in here from someplace, so I thought that was kind of cool. But getting back to what I was saying, there's just a lot of natural places, as you can see, and they're deep. I mean, these are deep holes in here. These are very capable of just putting a little bit of super glue in when the wood is dry. Don't try to do this when the wood is wet because it won't work very well. But when you do this and you are putting your plants in here, there's just so many places that you can place plants with a little bit of super glue, and they will stay in place forever. They're not going to go anywhere. Don't overuse the super glue and harm the roots on it, but use enough to where you're just going to get them to hold down. In many cases, I found that I didn't even really need the super glue because the holes were so deep in here for some of this Anubias that's here and the Java fern. This is a Windelow Java fern right up to the top here, and there's basically a standard Java fern and some more Windelow down in this area as well. But I would say that 90% of these, I didn't really need super glue, but I did use super glue anyway because I just wanted to make sure they stayed in place. Problem I ran into is I got sick, like I said, and within, I think about 10 days after removing this, I thought that it would still not float and be dense enough and heavy enough to just go right to the bottom and stay in place. Man, was I wrong. I got this all planted, did everything, didn't even think about it, and placed it in the tank, and of course it started to float right up. Thus the reason why I have the rocks in here. Now I have no intention of leaving rocks in here. I never wanted this tank to have rocks in here. I basically wanted to have a nice clean setup where I would have this piece of wood with the plants in here, and then take this gravel out down here and replace it with just a dusting of sand, maybe a ½ inch thick, some beautiful tannish gold colored sand that's got a little bit of a red hue to it. I think it's called sunset gold. Anyways, I thought that was going to look rather nice, but when I went to put this in here, it floated, and I was just absolutely beside myself. Rookie mistake that I shouldn't have made, simply because I know better, and these kinds of things typically, they will hold water for a period of time, and you don't have to resubmerge them. And I thought the 7 to 10 days that it was back out of the water in cooler weather in my garage, I thought it would be fine, and the wood would go right to the bottom. But that did not happen, and I was very disappointed. So this will all work out because Mopani wood only takes 3 to 7 days to really soak up the water necessary to keep it from moving around in the tank, and that's what our situation is going to be here. There are some tannins that will be released into the water, but within a week or two, with your water changes and some carbon, which I don't typically use carbon, but in this particular case, when I get tannins, I like to put a little carbon in just to make sure that everything sort of dissipates as quick as I possibly can get it to. But anyway, long story short is I've got these rocks in here. It looks like a lot. It doesn't look like there's a ton of room for the fish in here, and that's simply because we've got rocks stacked all over the place in here to make sure this stays in place. The last thing we want is for this thing to float to the top in the middle of the night or whatever, and create a situation where we shatter our glass at the top and harm the fish and possibly the whole tank if we're not careful. So I've really secured these down really well. I've tested them to make sure they're going to stay in place, and I think we're okay. And I'm hoping after 5 to 7 days that I can gradually remove rocks one at a time, maybe a rock or two a day, until we know for sure that this is going to stay in place. And once that happens, everything will be fine. As I said, Mopani is an extremely dense wood. It soaks up water very quickly. gives off a little bit of tannins, like I said. But the bottom line is once it gets that water in there, it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to stay in place. And this will be really beautiful. As I said, I know it looks crowded, and I apologize for that. It's not going to look anything like this once I get this thing to submerge itself and stay in place. It's going to be very beautiful, and we are going to have a really nice piece here. As you can see, as I get up close, we've got some air bubbles in here because I just did a water change because I was so disruptive moving this around. Whenever you're moving your gravel around, you want to get these gases out of here and make sure that everything is okay. Now, the other thing you want to talk about really quick is pH may change a little bit because of the size of the piece of wood and the type of wood. But the bottom line is we don't need to worry about pH that's going to fluctuate, because once this stabilizes in here, the pH, the fish are going to be just fine. Discus will adapt to pHs as long as they're not constantly fluctuating. You don't want to chase pH. You basically want to stabilize it, and everything will be fine. I'll give you an update in a week or two on this thing. But I just kind of wanted to be honest with you and kind of show you the transformation of this tank, but also let you know the kind of problems that I ran into, so that if you are going to do something similar to this, or maybe you're in the process of doing something similar to this right now, you're not going to have a situation where you're going to have the same problem that I had. Leave the wood in the bin of water until the moment that you use it. That way you don't have to worry about the wood floating. So that's the mistake I made. I got really sick after a week or so. I was going to use this. I tried it in this tank. Like I said, it worked beautiful. And then all of a sudden we had the problem when I tried to place it in here after planting all these plants. I thought, oh man, you got to be kidding me. But this is an easy fix, and one that you just have to strategically do, in the sense that if you get some rocks in here that are going to keep it down and keep it from floating, typically this situation is going to go away rather quickly, and your tank is going to be fine within 5 to 7 days. So like I said, I'll be taking some of these pieces out of here, these rock pieces. We're not going to have any rock in here at all. This is very temporary. So those of you that are looking at this 75-gallon and saying, you know, that looks a little bit crowded in there for the discus fish, it's just because the rocks are there's so many of them in here, and they're sitting on top, weighting this thing down, and they will look just fine and have plenty of room for the fish over time. So hopefully that's all going to take care of itself. They're a little stressed right now. They're sloughing off some of their slime coat, and I'm hoping that turning the lights down and giving these guys an opportunity to relax a little bit, and I will be using a little bit of prime even when I'm not doing water changes, just to make sure that these guys are not getting beat up with nitrites and nitrates. I don't think the chlorine is going to be an issue. I do daily water changes whenever I'm doing a tank like this and refurbishing it, so it should be fine. But thank you for joining me. Please leave your comments down below. Give me a like, subscribe, comment, and share with your friends so that we can build the channel up. We've been doing really good, and I appreciate everybody who's jumped on board and made that commitment to subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate you. Turn this lights down a little bit on this tank, just to show you basically where we normally are as far as lighting. But this I think is going to turn out really great, and I appreciate it. I just like being honest with people, and also if there's a lesson in something, I like to give a little lesson on things so that everybody understands that I'm not perfect. I make mistakes too, And I share those mistakes with people because it's, you know, even the best of us, I've been doing this a long time. I've got a zillion videos out, and this one caught me off guard. I've been sick, and I just made an assumption that this wood was still going to be fine and not float. I was wrong. So anyways, thank you for joining me. I hope you'll join me on the next one. We'll give you a follow-up on this one once we get the gravel out of here and get that dusting of sand in here and these rocks are gone. It's going to be a perfect environment for these discus fish. Don't know long term if we're going to continue with discus in here. I've got so many discus tanks now that it's getting to the point where I really would like to try some other fish. I'm actually thinking about some Ultim angels if I can find them. They're really hard to find right now, and with the way things are going in the world, it's getting complicated to get fish even, especially angel fish. I'm noticing if they're wilds or anything like that, getting really, really hard to get them. But anyways, again, thank you for joining me. We'll see you on the next one. Until then, we are out of here.